I'm quite excited about our next guest, Neil, because, too often we talk about sport and sometimes we need to broaden our mind and actually speak to some intelligent people here on the show.
Well, I totally agree. One way to do it is by reading books and the other way to do it is by meeting people who write books.
Well, the next person is a guest who is a writer who is based here in the UAE, but she's not just been a writer. She's donned many hats over the years, having lived and worked in 9 different countries. She's travelled to many, not just travelling to 9 countries, living and working in nine countries. She's had a fantastic career where she was previously a junior partner at McKinsey & Company in Amsterdam, a Bachelor of Engineering, and she's here today to help talk about her latest book, which is available. It is a fantastic book that is all about the issue when it comes, well, I'll get to the discussion of when it comes down to climate change. The book is called The Sky Has Moved Away, and we are joined in the studio. Surya Ramkumar, thank you very much for coming in and joining us here in the studio today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
What makes it so exciting for someone? We're going to get to the book. How does someone come to working in so many different countries, 9 countries?
I love travel. I love exploring new cultures, getting to new people, and I would not miss an opportunity to go to a new country.
And having had a more of a business career, what led you to become a writer?
I've always liked writing. I've always been a reader. I've read books through my entire life, and I actually wrote this book almost 14 years ago. And
wow.
So writing has always been a part of me. It's just that finally we got to actually publish it and put it out into the world.
Writing is one thing, but to write a book, which primarily means you also not just have to write your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas, but you have to also ensure that it's saleable. Right, because commercial aspect of a book is also something that one would want to keep in the back of your mind. How do you mix both these aspects? Writing for the love of writing and then writing, hey, you know what? Let's add some commercial drama to it.
So I think it's a fantastic point. So, the first version of the book you write is probably the book that you write for yourself.
True.
And then you sort of, as you start the editing process, you think, okay, what would make this interesting for a wider audience?
Mm-hmm.
And I think at least the path I chose was to tell a story, a human story that almost all of us could relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that in itself is a saleable part of the book.
So when you're looking at the book, as we said, the book is called The Sky Has Moved Away. Your book deals with the theme of climate change. How do you see when you're doing writing of people's understanding? Because there's people who obviously believe in climate change. There's some people that are skeptics of climate change. Are you looking to try to win someone over with your book, or is it a book that anyone can get something out of?
I think it's a book anyone can get something out of. At the heart of it, I want you to have a good time reading the story. At the end of it, it is about people just like you and me who goes through an extraordinary climate crisis. And hopefully it doesn't happen to us soon, but at some point, if we go the way that we're going, it is going to happen to all of us.
Have you had great pleasure in giving your book to someone who believes that climate change is a scam and say, here, read this? Don't worry, it's all made up. You can read that. Have you done that?
Not yet, but I hope there is maybe someone in this, who listens to this who might pick it up.
They could be flicking through and going, I think she's onto something.
But tell me this, Kitch mentioned about climate change. Your book is about climate change. People believe, some people don't believe. But when you're writing a book which is, based on reality, but there is a little bit of flavor of fiction in it, there is some serious amount of research that goes in it,
yes.
Right? Because you just can't just write a 2-liner about climate change and get going with, the fiction part of it. How much research did Surya take to write this book?
A whole lot of research, but on the other hand, I've been working in this field for more than a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a sustainability professional consulting with companies on how to go about their sustainability journey. So I think a lot of that research was probably part
already
of
done,
my
yeah.
experience. Actually, when I wrote the book, it felt like a fiction. But 14 years on, it actually feels like real life.
I'm also fascinated between your background, because most writers tend to come from more creative fields, or tend to be, sometimes lawyers tend to go into a lot of writing. But you've come from more of a corporate background, which is rather unusual. Do you think that you could consider yourself one of the few that's both left and right brained, and you can manage both the creative and maybe fiscal parts of business?
I think all of us have both the left and the right brains, and all of us can manage it. We just need to sort of let go of all of those
Now
labels.
you're speaking like a business manager. No, but I mean, given business can be quite conservative in those environments, were people a little bit skeptical when you were like, "Oh, I'm going to write a book"?
Absolutely. So a lot of people were skeptical, and I think that's why it took me so long to put it out into the world. But yeah, I mean, I'm an engineer by profession, I think in straight lines. So it took me a while to sort of also embrace my creative side. But,
So that was probably an advantage for you.
I think so, yeah.
Because sometimes when writers, you become too emotional, you become too into your craft sometimes a little bit without being able to take a step back and be able to look at your writing, from a more black and white engineering point of view.
I guess, but there were parts of my book which I cried when I wrote them. So, I can't say I was all unemotional about it.
No, but see, Kitch made a very brilliant point where he said that you take yourself away from the book and read it from a reader's perspective. It's like, I mean, we do it every single day. Whatever we talk, whatever we plan and present, we think that, oh, this was great, this was amazing. But hey, there's someone who's listening and says, maybe this could have been done better. This could have been slightly different. Was there someone sitting and working with you, or probably a team of people who said, hey, you know what, this chapter is a little too long, how about we shorten it just 2 pages? And then you said, no, listen, this is my baby, my book. No, you can't really touch it.
No, so we have a fantastic editorial team at my publisher, the Dreamwork Collective. So yes, we had a fantastic editor who would tell me, this is too long. You need to go deeper at this character, take this person out. And, I had to take some characters out of the book, which was very painful. But there is a certain distance, I think, I was able to achieve, which probably, to your point, is because of a different background as well.
True. Again, you speak about characters. Building a character, were inspirations taken from people around you, or was it absolutely out of nowhere that you create a character like Harry Potter and Hermione were created?
I think it was probably composites of many people I have seen in real life, right? But they're all characters in their own rights. But of course, I think people can sort of
relate with it.
Well, one of the things I love about stand-up comedy is that stand-up comedians have a great way of getting on stage and holding up a window, almost a mirror to society, and going, look at what we do. Isn't it really funny? And then people go, actually, yeah, we have these habits and we have these things that we do that you kind of, when you see that mirror, it makes you double take. Do you think that storytelling can have that same impact when it comes to those discussions around about society and the environment and what we're doing to the planet?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in psychology, there is a concept called narrative transportation theory, which basically says that if you lose yourself in a story, you immerse yourself in a world, you're able to sort of change your intentions, your perspectives much more than if you were just given facts and figures, right? And that's what storytelling does. We don't move because of facts and figures. We move because of emotions that changes. And I hope that's what storytelling will do for this very critical topic.
Well, I'm looking forward to reading the book. If people do want to get in contact with the first climate change fiction book, it's entitled The Sky Has Moved Away. We can get it with Amazon, best place?
Absolutely. Amazon.ae or Amazon.com for the ebook.
And who is it dedicated to?
To my 2 daughters, Anika and Nikita.
And do they have to put up with mummy slaving away, trying to get the book done and get
absolutely.
it completed?
And they have to read the multiple drafts of it too.
Oh, wow. It wasn't enough doing their own homework. Mum, I finished my homework. Can I play games? No, not until you read the 3rd draft. Was there a bit of that?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think there might have been. Well, what are your plans after this book? 2nd, 3rd book? The Netflix series? What's the dream? What would you like to happen?
All of it, actually. Why not? I mean, I would love to see this on screen because I do think there are very visual elements of this story that would do very well on whether it's as a Netflix or as a movie. And I do have a couple of ideas for the next book, again, on sort of similar themes, which is, using words for change.
I have so much respect for you because we've all had these $1 million ideas for books and stories, and so many of us never really put it into action to come through with this. And here you are. You said, 14 years ago you had the idea for this?
14 years ago I had the first draft of the book.
And how does the final version of the book differ from that version from 14 years ago?
It actually does look quite different because I think I was a more mature writer, so I kind of really changed quite a few aspects of the book. But the fundamental storyline and the climate crisis in the middle of it remains the same. It's
the first climate change fiction book. It's entitled The Sky Has Moved Away. Surya Ramkumar, thank you very much for coming in. You can check it out on her website or Amazon.ae, the book entitled The Sky Has Moved Away. Talk 100.